As they aim for their 9th Harbor Invitational title, the 3-0 UMass Boston Beacons take to the hardwood this afternoon in today's championship affair. They'll battle the 2-0 Daniel Webster Eagles next, right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the BBN. I am John Skudris, and welcome again to the 32nd Annual Harbor Invitational Championship Affair. UMass clinched their entry into this duel thanks to a dominant 76-50 triumph over Vermont Tech on Friday. In the win, 5 different Beacons reached double digits in points, led by a fantastic performance off the bench from senior guard Neil Cesar, who tallied a team-leading 15 points in 23 minutes. Junior guard Iser Barnes was also a key factor, recording a double-double with 12 points and 10 rebounds. On the other side of the scorer's table will be the bench for Daniel Webster. The Eagles overcame a halftime deficit on Friday, blitzing the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy for 39 points in the second half, downing their opponents 59-49. For DWC, the spark came from 2 key sources, junior guard Jaquan Harrison and senior forward Ray Farmer. The latter led the team with 12 points thanks to a clutch 8-for-10 performance from the charity stripe. Meanwhile, Harrison was a one-man wrecking crew off the bench, recording 10 points, 3 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks in 24 minutes for Donald Morris Jr.'s victorious club. With Harrison's performance yesterday and the Beacons' 26-9 edge in bench points in their victory over Vermont Tech, it's clear that the bench will be critical in concluding the tale of the 32nd Annual Harbor Invitational Tournament. The final chapter is up next, right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. And as we continue along here on the pregame, just a couple of minutes from the opening tip-off between the Eagles of Daniel Webster and UMass Boston, your Beacons, let's take a look at the statistics on the year. It's been a young season for both of these clubs. For the Beacons, obviously offensively, they have been hitting on all cylinders, 85 points and change per game over the first 3 games. Defensively, it's been Daniel Webster who's been playing very well inside their own area, but the fact of the matter is the Beacons' field goal percentage is one of the tops in their conference. 48% from the field on field goals. And meanwhile, UMass Boston, the rebounding margin per game plus 9.6 would be impressive, but it's dwarfed by the absolutely Herculean 11 rebound per game advantage for the visitors from Daniel Webster. Let's take a look now at the UMass Boston Beacon starters. Beginning first with UMass, Alex Sanchez will start for the Beacons. Sanchez, a native from Salem, Massachusetts. He was a high school player of the year in his conference as a senior at Salem High School. Starting next to him will be the aforementioned Iser Barnes, the junior at 5'9" out of Charlestown High School. Ty Lee, another freshman high school conference player of the year for the New Mission Titans last year, is starting for Jason Harris's club. And the front court of Kareem Kirksey, the 5'11" senior from Dorchester, and Sam Freeman, the big man in the middle leading the team in points, the 6'4" New Mission High School alum, is rounding out the starting 5 for Coach Harris's club. Let's take a look at Daniel Webster's starters in the starting lineup for Donald Morris Jr., who's in his 3rd year as the coach of the Eagles. They are led in the backcourt by number 3, Jared Harrington, a Capital Christian High School alum. Also, Marquise Caudill, a junior standing at 6'7", dwarfs the rest of his competition in the backcourt. Angelo Adon is the starter at small forward, a 6'1" John F. Kennedy High School alum. And the front court led by Michael Blake Green and Ray Farmer. The former is an absolute beast down low, as Blake Green at 6'6", a freshman from Wakefield High, will be someone to keep an eye on this afternoon. Again, I want to thank you for joining us here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network for the 32nd Annual Championship Affair of the Harbor Invitational between UMass Boston and Daniel Webster College. The 2 squads' starters being introduced just as they just were here on the webcast. And just a reminder that, again, I am John Skudris. This is the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Now, across Clark Athletic Center, the women's hockey team is in a good affair. We'll have an update on that at halftime, as well as an interview with Coach Jason Harris, and a look at the Little East Conference scoreboard. The Beacons, of course, have yet to toil with any of their LEC opponents. However, a 3-0 start would be beautiful, and it would only be better with a 4-0 start with a victory today. For UMass Boston, it's going to take a huge performance down low from Sam Freeman, who leads the team in points per game with 24 for UMass Boston through the first 3 affairs. He is joined in that category by some very, very good company, including the 14.3 points per game from Alex Sanchez and fellow freshman Ty Lee, who is averaging 11 in just his first 3 collegiate affairs. We're all set for the opening tip-off. Sam Freeman will take it for UMass Boston. He opened up the 2016-17 season with 29 points in the Beacons opener. He followed it up with 19 in Game 2. Had a bit of an off night last night despite the Beacons' 29-point victory. We'll see if he can rebound this afternoon in the 32nd Annual Harbor Invitational Championship. We're glad to have you with us. It'll be Freeman against Jaquan Harrison, who actually is a late entrance into the starting lineup. Harrison came off the bench yesterday, but had a huge day, as mentioned in the pregame. So beginning things, here's Harrington, covered tightly there by Sanchez. Harrington goes down low here, almost taken away from Caudle, and now intercepted and taken by the Beacons, as moving forward with possession was Ty Lee. Lee goes far side, looking for Powers, and Powers' pull-up jumper from the top of the key is off the mark. So a few different starters in here than yesterday for Coach Harris and Coach Morris. As this one comes back to set things up, it'll be number 3, Jared Harrington, finding Ray Farmer, the 6'5" Nashua South alum from Nashua, New Hampshire, as from the baseline cutting in, a runner off the back rim and out by number 21, Michael Blake Green. The rebound thrown up there off the mark by Harrington. A third chance opportunity from long range is good, as connecting on that one was number 10, Angelo Adon. And just like that, our first points on the board. The Eagles are flying. It's 3-0. Sanchez finds Powers down low for Freeman, and the big man pulls up with a turnaround hook shot off the mark and out. Rebound taken here by Adon. And now moving forward is Jared Harrington. Harrington, 6'5" sophomore from Upper Marlboro, as this one is deflected, and it's going to be a foul called on UMass Boston. I think that'll be Ty Lee's first of the afternoon. Just a minute and a half into the first half of this one. Glad to have you with us. It's 3-0 Daniel Webster. Winner of this game will capture the 32nd Annual Harbor Invitational Championship. Meanwhile, driving down low, trying to put it up with the right hand, and missing the mark there was Harrington. He wanted a foul, doesn't get it. Streaking forward is Alex Sanchez. The freshman finds his fellow diaper dandy, Lee, who goes right back to Sanchez. And the 5'5" Salem native connects on a short-range jumper, and the Beacons are on the board. It's 3-2. Caudle trying to drive. Nice spin move, and Marquise Caudle cannot get the roll. A nice runner after a beautiful dive into the paint for the Windsor native. Now we get a foul here, and they're going to say it's going to go out of bounds off of UMass Boston, in fact. That was off Freeman. And it'll be another chance here for the Eagles. Tossing it in to Ray Farmer there was Harrington. Farmer thought about going back to Jared. Instead, he drives and is rejected by Sam Freeman. Looking like Nerlens Noel down low as Sam Freeman denies Harrington. And just like that, the Beacons get it back. So a beautiful defensive play for the big man in the middle as the senior from Boston, Massachusetts stands tall with his first block of the afternoon. Powers goes far side, finds Kareem Kirksey. Down low for Freeman. He gets it done defensively, can't get it offensively. Off back rim and out on the pull-up jumper, and now the rebound to the Eagles as Harrington brings it up. Harrington pressured tightly, comes back near side for Farmer. Farmer lost his dribble, and then we're going to get a call, and it's on UMass Boston. So the Beacons called for their second foul the first half. That's going to be on Kirksey, the 5'11 senior from Dorchester, an MCLA transfer. And now we get our first sub for the Beacons as Iser Barnes will come on in for Kirksey. Barnes, of course, huge performance yesterday for the Beacons, as the junior from Charlestown High looks to continue his performance. Meanwhile, Powers able to connect with Lee, who streaks forward, cannot hit, and a great second chance follow-up by Iser Barnes. Off the bench, ice in his veins, and now on the board as Barnes puts the Beacons on top for the first time. It's 4-3. So UMass Boston, back-to-back buckets, up 4-3. That one out of bounds. That should... No, they're going to say it was deflected by Powers, so it will stay with the Eagles. And they're going to inbound this from the baseline. It's going to be Farmer. And Farmer goes right down low. Good look, but unable to find it was Harrison. He goes way back outside from long range for a pull-up jumper there from Dempsey. And it's off the mark, and streaking forward now is number 1, Alex Sanchez. Sanchez from the baseline comes back to Powers. Tees up for 3. He's got that stroke usually, not this time. As it rims out, the rebound to the visiting Eagles. Taken in there by Jaquan Harrison. Now with possession here is Farmer. Farmer is a big man at 6'5", but more of a swing forward, as here taking the pull-up jumper was the man who had that rebound, Angelo Adon. Instead, good rebound and a dish down low for Harrington, who was fouled and will go to the charity stripe. So our first free throws of the afternoon comes at 16:26 of the first half. It's 5-4, the Eagles of Daniel Webster College. First free throw is on the mark for the Eagles from Jared Harrington, and native of Maryland. Harrington, second on the team in points per game, actually tied at 10.5 with Angelo Adon. As he rims out the second, almost going up over Freeman, and getting that rebound was Harrison. Instead, with possession now and finding his man there was Lee. That's Cesar coming all the way in, and an off-balance shot is off the mark as he was defended smartly there by Farmer. Oh, what a great streaking look there, connecting with Harrison was Harrington. So Harrington to Harrison, and with 16:09 to go, it's 8-4 Daniel Webster. We have a timeout on the court as Harris wants to talk to his club. Beacons doubled up, 8-4 Eagles on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. And as we are at the timeout here, no commercials for you on this broadcast. A reminder that UMass Boston, and you can check out all the Beacons Athletics action on beaconsathletics.com or at your social media venues, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Check out at UMass Beacons to follow all your Beacons Athletics action 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Coming into this game, we thought the key to the game would be UMass Boston and their speed going up against the size and the bench of the Daniel Webster College Eagles. Beacon's speed is well pronounced. They're not a big team. Their tallest player is 6'4" Sam Freeman. It was obviously a colossal figure down low. He's got the size and the strength you need, but when compared to some of the Daniel Webster College Eagles, like 6'9" Jaquan Harrison, 6'7" Marquise Caudill, the Beacons are dwarfed when it comes to size, so they'll have to take advantage of speed, something that at this level is certainly attainable. We've seen many teams do it and overcome a size discrepancy. Meanwhile, there's that speed and poise on a beautiful drive from Iser Barnes, as he is now 2 for 2 for 4 points off the bench since coming in just about a minute and a half ago. So the Beacons employ the full court press here as they are trying to up the ante on the Eagles. 15:33 to go as that one is tossed near side, connecting with Caudill. Marquise finds an open lane, and an open jumper is good for Marquise Caudill as the 6'7" Windsor, Connecticut native is on the board. It's 10-6 Eagles. The freshman Sanchez. Oh, great look down low by Freeman, who's rejected from behind. What a block by Angelo Adon as the 6'1" Silver Spring, Maryland native takes down 6'4" Sam Freeman. Well, if that's not something to spark the emotions of the bench, I don't know what is, but the Beacons trailing by 4 now will get possession. Near side, it's taken by Sanchez. Sanchez D'd up, tries to drive left past Tommy Organ. Instead, he connects here with Barnes, and Iser is fouled as he tries to drive near side towards the baseline. And that's going to be on the floor, and so there will be another throw in here with 15:08 to go. Ty Lee, the freshman from New Mission, will look to find one of his teammates in bounds. He might have to go right back to Freeman. Instead, he goes all the way out to Sanchez. And the fellow freshman high school player of the year will run the offense here. Tries to drive by, use that speed. He does, but misses off the rim and out. Meanwhile, a good rebound by Freeman. He got it deflected to him by Neil Cesar, and Sam Freeman connects as a 6'4" centerman has put the Beacons within 2. It's 10-8. Press continues here from Sanchez, trying to beat it is Tommy Organ, and the Morristown, New Jersey native does get it over half court. Organ connecting with fellow bench player Alex Cruz. Cruz comes near side for a pull-up three-pointer. That's true from Michael Campbell, the 6'5" Mount Vernon, New York native. And the visitors from Daniel Webster are on fire from long range, starting out 2 for 2. We get a foul here, I believe, on the court, so another throw-in, but the team foul's building up now for Daniel Webster. They now have 3. And we will get a substitution as Powers will step in for Freeman, who will get his first breather of the game with 14:24 to go. So we have Lee, Cesar, Powers, Sanchez, and Barnes. Very small lineup for Jason Harris's club, although other than Freeman, it's usually going to be a very small lineup. Here's Sanchez running the offense. Gets a screen from both sides with Powers and Barnes. Instead, here's Barnes. Nice Euro step down low for Powers, and they're going to say he traveled before the bucket. And so UMass Boston with another turnover here. And it'll go back to the Eagles. And the press continues. Sanchez right in the face of Tommy Organ. And Organ is able to get right past Alex and set up the show here. Meanwhile, near side, here's Alex Cruz. Hartford, Connecticut native goes down low. Nice move inside, but they're actually going to get a travel called there on Antoine Boyd, the 6'5" Stamford, Connecticut native. As Boyd will turn it right back over. So back-to-back traveling violations. And the Beacons down by 5 will get the ball back. 13:45 to go. Lee, D'd up Kai Caudill, comes near side. Right back to Barnes. Barnes faked the pull-up jumper, finds Powers. Powers D'd up here by Small Piece. Goes right back to Lee, who pulls it up and goes off backboard and in. So a good drive by Ty Lee, but an even better look by Dan Powers, as the senior from Westwood found the freshman from Boston. And the Beacons are on to double digits at 13-10. Here's Organ. D'd up by Barnes. Tommy trying to drive down low. Gets it stripped away on a great play by the freshman Sanchez. Or rather, that's Lee. Ty coming all the way in, pulling up, tries to take it coast to coast off near side rim and out. And that's going to allow a breakaway the other way for Boyd, who slams it home with a vengeance. And it's 15-10. So sometimes in basketball, it can be unlucky to be lucky, because the Beacons got a nice block there and set themselves up for an odd man rush the other way, and instead it turns into a breakaway and a fast break point for the visitors from the Eagles. Meanwhile, driving in, Iser Barnes, great job, no foul, another chance for Barnes, gets his own rebound, and the 5'9" guard Iser Barnes continues to play well beyond his height as the Beacons are within 3. Barnes now 6 points off the bench in just a few minutes. Critical to the Beacons' success is going to be the bench performance today, as driving in, using the right arm, no foul there, as using the right arm was Cruz to get around. Nonetheless, a good steal by UMass Boston, as streaking forward is Lee, takes it all the way off the rim and out again, as he was just off target with regards to his shooting accuracy there, and the freshman now allows the guard, number 14, Tommy Organ, to go right by him, drive in, and connect as this one rolls out. The bounces are not fortuitous so far for either of these clubs, as we are 8 minutes and change into this one. Beacons will get possession, and we will get a timeout. So, a media timeout here on the court from Clark Athletic Center here in the 32nd annual Harbor Invitational Championship game. It's 15-12, Daniel Webster College. Welcome back to the Beacons Broadcasting Network. I'm John Skudris. Out of the media timeout, the Beacons are set to go. They'll have Powers, Sanchez, Barnes, Freeman, and number 11, Kareem Kirksey returns to the court. That's the 5 for UMass Boston. Meanwhile, Coach Morris for the visiting Eagles going back to his starting 5. As the Beacons and the Eagles duel, it's a 3-point game, 15-12. Less than 12 to go in the first half of play. Stay tuned at halftime. We'll have a look back at the first half as well as a peek around the Little East Conference. Pull-up mid-range jumper there from Powers, about 10 feet away from the rim. Connects, and Dan's on the board. It's a 1-point game, 15-14. We'll also have an interview with Coach Harris in his second season at UMass Boston. What a first year he had for the Beacons a year ago, as he really led the Beacons to a renaissance, and he hopes to continue that here in 2016-17. Already off to a 3-0 start. He'd like nothing more than that 4-0 start to include the team's, or the institution's 9th Harbor Invitational Championship, but he's going to have to endure Marquise Caudill. The 6'7" forward connects on a pull-up jumper from just inside the charity stripe. Meanwhile, coming back the other way is Barnes, and Iser continues to absolutely dominate on the dribble drive as he now has 8 of the Beacons' 16 first-half points. As mentioned, the Beacons have won this tournament 8 times. They've also been runner-up 3 consecutive times, losing in 2013, 14, and 15 to Wesleyan, Eastern Nazarene, and Trinity. Meanwhile, Daniel Webster would be a first-time champion if they were able to triumph in this one. We do get a foul here on UMass Boston. It's on Barnes. And heading to the charity stripe for the first time is Angelo Adon. It's the second trip for Daniel Webster College. Adon, a Silver Spring, Maryland native. And the team's leading scorer coming into play, tied with Jared Harrington, connects on his first free throw attempt. It's his first successful free throw of the season, as he was 0 for 1 coming into play, despite playing over 46 minutes so far in 2 games. So this is going to be good. It's now 19-16 for Adon and the Eagles. Beacons will bring things up here, trying to either get within 1 or tie it here with a 3-pointer. Running the show is Sanchez, the freshman from Salem. Gets the screen. Instead goes far side for Ty Lee. Lee going down low for Freeman. Freeman, a big size advantage on Adon. Takes it and makes it, as that one was easy as pie for Sam Freeman, as a 6'4" center connects. And that one deflected out of bounds there by Barnes. He has a few words to share with number 34, Ray Farmers. They converse in front of the referee on the near sideline. Farmer, bounce pass in here to Harrington. Harrington teed up hard, and a great play made by UMass Boston. Sanchez, Lee, hands to Barnes. What a move, and can't hit. The rebound is off the mark there by Kirksey. And a great defensive effort by Alex Sanchez, all for naught. Meanwhile, the other way, we'll get a foul, and no, they're going to stay on the court. That didn't look like it was on the court to me, as Freeman is able to foul Marquise Caudill. The Beacons, however, are in the penalty, I believe, so there will be free throws nonetheless, at least a 1-and-1 for Marquise Caudill. No, they're going to say it comes underneath. The Beacons now with 5 fouls. At first, I suspected if it's on the floor, it can't be shooting fouls. Nonetheless, the Beacons now have to man up defensively. Almost a bad path there. Meanwhile, pull-up jumper from Adon from 3-point range is off the mark. Great defensive play by Barnes. Connects with Kirksey. Off balance, and the Beacons the other way. Here's Sanchez. Alex, pull-up jumper off the mark. Rebound is taken in by Marquise Caudill. Don't love that shot selection from the freshman. Wait till your teammates get up before you take a tough shot like that. Meanwhile, Adon continues to stay hot, clapping his hands back as he heads towards D, as he extends the lead to 3 with a pull-up jumper. Still 9 minutes to go here in the first half. Freeman driving to the far side, connects with Barnes. Barnes has been hot. He's got 8 points. Lee to Powers. He can shoot. Instead, he comes near side Kirksey. Beacons trying to set things up. No Freeman out there right now. He was replaced by Powers after that last foul. Lee connects with Dan Powers. Pull-up jumper off back rim and out. Rebound taken by Caudill. And here come the Eagles flying high the other way. Driving, dishing, Harrington connects there with with Harrison, who almost lost control and now comes back to the aforementioned Ray Farmer. Kirksey D'ing up Farmer, down low here for Caudill, and a good spinning pull-up jumper fadeaway is off the mark. Powers perseveres and gets the rebound. Here is Sanchez now moving forward. Beacons have numbers the other way. Chance for Barnes for three in the tie. Connects. And the Beacons are evened up with the Eagles here in the first half for the first time since it was 0-0. So they have caught the Eagles, and now driving in and losing possession and getting the break of a blocking foul was number 3, Jared Harrington. And Harrington will head to the charity stripe for 2. We'll have a couple of substitutions, one for the Beacons, at least one for the Beacons. Might actually have a couple, and might be a unit change here for the visitors from Daniel Webster as they look to have at least 4 players ready to come on in. First free throw is up and good from Harrington. Jared 6 for 12 for 50% from the field coming into play. So he gets the charity stripe about 6 times a game. It should be 22-21. Right now it still shows 21-21 on the scoreboard here. So the substitutions are in. Kirksey out there for the Beacons, along with Gabriel Pereira, junior from Brockton. And Neil Cesar re-enters for UMass Boston. So connecting on both was Harrington. It's 23-21 out there for the Eagles. Now it's going to be Alex Cruz returning to the affair. Cruz is joined by Tavon Smallpiece, Antoine Boyd, number 24, Michael Campbell, and the other guard up front is going to be Tommy Organ. From the far side and getting caught up and fouling Ty Lee, and not happy about it at all, was Antoine Boyd. He hops around with enthusiasm, but not going to get that call overturned. It's the first of the day on Boyd. And the Eagles will see the Beacons inbound this from the far side. It'll be Barnes for UMass Boston. 7:57 to go. You're watching the 32nd Annual Harbor Invitational Championship game here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. I'm John Skudras. And now we will get a timeout as the media timeout commences at 7:57. So with less than 8 to go in the first half of play, UMass Boston has tightened things up. They now trail by just 2. It's Daniel Webster College 23, your Beacons 21, right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. (23-21) Daniel Webster College as they are looking to obtain their first Harbor Invitational Championship. Beacons looking for their 9th after losing 3 consecutive championship affairs since 2013. Here is Barnes. Iser fakes the handoff there, drives to the far side, connects here near side, and driving down the baseline and not connecting but getting fouled there was Neil Cesar with a huge performance in yesterday's semifinal. In that victory over Vermont Tech. And now Neil will head to the charity stripe for 2. These are the first free throws of the afternoon for UMass Boston. And it's the second foul of the day on Tommy Organ, the sophomore from Morristown, New Jersey. First free throw for Neil is up and good, so Cesar is on the board. Beacons trail now just by 1, 23-22. Cesar 5 for 10 coming in, now 6 for 11 from the charity stripe on this short season. Make that 7 for 12, so Cesar connects on both free throws, and the Beacons have evened things up yet again. It's 23-23, Daniel Webster and UMass Boston here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Cruz tries to go on a quick one-touch pass underneath, and it's picked off by an alert Lee. Near side to far side, connects there with Cesar, and a great rebound put up by Kirksey with the right hand. The Beacons are on top for the first time here in this championship game. It's 25-23. As we get a foul at half court, and that is a costly one because the Beacons are in the penalty. So free throw, at least one free throw coming up here for Tommy Organ. As a substitution for UMass Boston, Gabriel Pereira, who entered in just a few minutes ago, takes a seat. Dason Sinelli, a native from Boston, Massachusetts, and Boston Collegiate Charter, will step on in down low. Standing at 6'1", 165, and he's playing a power forward position. So here is the 6-foot Tommy Organ from the charity stripe. The first of a 1-and-1 is good. And he regains the lead or rather he cuts the deficit in half now, 25-24. Has a chance to tie it up with a free throw here on the back end of the 1-and-1. He does. And we are tied up again, 25-25. High scoring affair here in the 32nd Annual Harbor Invitational Championship from Clark Athletic Center on the campus of UMass Boston. Near side, dribble drive, and Cesar is fouled. He'll go to the charity stripe for 2 for the second time in the last 66 seconds. So Cesar goes to the charity stripe. As mentioned, he's now 7 of 12 from the line this season. No substitutions for UMass Boston on this trip as he connects with the first, gives the Beacons the lead back. It's 26-25. Cesar right now out there with Barnes, Ty Lee, Kirksey, and the man who just entered a moment ago, Dason Sinelli. And that is a horrible inbound pass, intercepted off the initial feed from Oregon, and we're going to get an offensive foul on UMass Boston. And Kirksey can't believe it as he raises his hands towards the heavens. So after a horrific display by Oregon on the inbound, he gets a reprieve, and now they're going to allow Antoine Boyd to inbound this one. Near side, he connects here with Devon Smallpiece, and the Dorchester native drives up. Ooh, had to watch his back there, as coming in tight was Neil Cesar. Substitution in a moment for the Beacons, but right now it's Oregon. Oregon, nice dribble drive past the defender Lee. Defers to Cruz, pull up from the baseline, and the jumper is good with the right arm. And we are retied up at 27 for Cruz, his first bucket of the afternoon. 6:25 to go. Far side here with possession. It is Sinelli. Sinelli, stretch pass to Kirksey. Tries the crossover move on Smallpiece. Pull-up jumper off front rim and out. And that is a foul on UMass. Oh, they're going to say on the Eagles of Daniel Webster. Looks like it's on Cruz, and they can't believe it. Cruz going over to discuss things with the ref. They're going to say he grabbed Kirksey on the rebound, so a good break there for the Beacons. As we will get a substitution, Kirksey will take a seat. Coming back in, the electric freshman Alex Sanchez. Oh, bad pass by Lee as he can't connect there with Sinelli. And a beautiful chance on a bounce pass, but a great defensive play by Cesar forces the turnover. The Eagles can't believe the call as the pass was intended for Boyd. And Antoine apparently had it deflect off him before it went out of bounds, and then Alex Sanchez driving in with the left hand, not even close. So we're still tied at 27. Sloppy play over the last few minutes. That was almost a sloppy turnover, but a great second effort there by Campbell as he connected with Cruz. And Campbell to Cruz gives the Eagles the lead back. Iser Barnes running the show. D'd up here by Campbell as Freeman goes to Semeni. Semeni pull-up jumper connects. So Dason Sinelli is on the board for the first time, and UMass Boston retying things as this topsy-turvy roller coaster ride continues. Bringing things up, connecting with Campbell was Oregon, and now we're going to get a cavalcade, a full new 5 in for the Eagles, as this running jumper is good there from Oregon, and back and forth they go. Daniel Webster back up 2. 5 minutes left here in the first half of play. UMass Boston trailing 31-29 in what has been an outstanding first 15 minutes. Lee near side for Freeman. Sanchez rather, as this is a pull-up three-pointer from Barnes, not even close, off back rim, and a great pick there by the aforementioned Lee. He pulls up from short range and connects, so a good effort by Ty Lee defensively as the 5'10", 160-pound guard is able to rip it away underneath and converts his own turnover into points. Meanwhile, here might be another. Cruz picks things up for the sloppy dribble drive by Tavon Smallpiece, and now Oregon D'd up by Sanchez. Tommy from right in front of Coach Harris in the Beacons bench, fakes the pass to the point, comes back down low. Smallpiece driving in, and he got good leverage inside on Neil Cesar. Smallpiece is 6'4", Cesar's 6'1", and it was showing evident there. Meanwhile, great look down low for Barnes. He can't get the friendly roll as he was wide open underneath, and then a good effort by Iser to at least force a jump ball. But this one will go to the Eagles. And now we will get a timeout. So we'll have some substitutions. It looks like Gabriel Pereira, the junior, is headed back in for Coach Harris. A full new starting 5 here for the Eagles. We'll go to a break. It's 33-31. Daniel Webster on top here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Welcome back out of a timeout here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. I am John Scooters. Beacons trailing 33-31. Just under 4 minutes to go, first half of play. As I mentioned, prior to stepping aside, the Eagles have a brand new 5 out there. It's their starting 5. Harrington, Caudill, Farmer, as well as the man with possession now, Angelo Adon, who's been fantastic today. Tried to get greedy there, slipping it in down low to Harrington, but a great defensive effort by Sanchez. Look at that matchup, folks. Number 1 for White, that's the Beacons' Alex Sanchez, is 5'5", 140. Man, he's covering right now. Number 3, Jared Harrington for the Eagles, and the man who just scored around Sanchez is 6'5", and judging from, it's not shown here on the press clipping, but judging from his size, probably about 215. So UMass Boston obviously dealing with a size disadvantage, and that has helped lead to a 4-point lead. 35-31 for the Daniel Webster Eagles. Lee connects with Barnes, trying to tie it up himself, and he does. The second three-pointer of the half for Iser Barnes, and UMass Boston has, and they only put up 2 on the scoreboard, but UMass Boston has gotten right back in at 35-34. That one partially deflected, taken here by Harrington. Harrington obviously with the size advantage, instead defers to Farmer. Far side for Adon, down low by Henderson, could not hit Harrington. And now the man with possession is Caudill. Caudill D'd up by Barnes, who picks his pocket, and Iser's got a lane all the way to the bucket, connects with the easy free throw. And Iser Barnes, 5 straight for UMass Boston in the last minute, and he has put the Beacons back on top, 36-35. And ooh, a foul here on Barnes as a very out-of-control dribble by Farmer. But nonetheless, the referees got Barnes on that one. For Iser, it is his second foul. A reminder, folks, they only get 5 in college as opposed to the 6 in the NBA, so we'll see how long Coach Harris decides to keep Iser out there. He's been his best offensive performer today. He has not put Sam Freeman back in the game since he got his second, and that shows right there how that can hurt UMass Boston, because the rebound was taken easily by number 4 Marquise Caudill, the 6'7" junior. Took care of business around the 6'2" Gabriel Pereira and won. And just like that, a chance for a 3-point play. Caudill connects on the free throw. They have been outstanding. 7 for 7 from the charity stripe are the Eagles so far, flying high at the free throw line as they have retaken the lead on a 3-point play, 38-36. Sanchez near side for Pereira. Pereira defers back to the guard as that's Ty Lee. The freshman hits Barnes. Barnes offensively has been all that and more, and this time he's rejected by the bigger Caudill as the 6'7" junior continues to unleash his venom on UMass Boston. Harrington down low to Caudill. Caudill D'd up by Neil Cesar. 6-7 on 6-1, and Cesar uses his defensive ability to rip it away. 3-on-2 for the Beacons. Here is Lee coming all the way in with the right hand, getting it off the backboard and in on the layup. And we are tied up yet again at 38 with 1:45 to go. Stay tuned at halftime. We'll talk to Coach Jason Harris for the Beacons. Hear his thoughts on the first half of play. We'll also look around the Little East Conference and around Beaconville, the women's hockey team playing right now across Clark Athletic Center. Pull-up jumper from just inside the three-point line. Taken by Harrington, off front rim and out. Taken by Pereira on the rebound. Beacons have a 2-on-1 the other way. Taken here by Lee. Fakes the shot and tries, I believe, to draw a foul. Instead, it's deflected out of bounds by Jaquan Harrison. And so UMass Boston will have to inbound this one underneath. A chance for a 2-on-1. And instead, a good defensive play and a good foul, I think, for the visitors from Daniel Webster. Meanwhile, actually, they called that just out of bounds, but nonetheless, that's a foul and one for Iser Barnes. Iser has continued to exalt his will. Harrison's coming off the bench at about the 16:30 mark of the first half. He has been out there for the duration of the remainder of this half, and he has given the Beacons another lead. They lead at 40-38. Foul's going to be on Farmer. It's his first of the half. As the free throws off, back rim and out. Rebound taken in by Farmer over Pereira. And with 1:15 to go, here come the Eagles the other way. We will get a substitution momentarily for UMass Boston. Although with just 65 seconds left, we'll see how long that takes. Down low, great move, and all the size in the world is going to help out for number 32, Jaquan Harrison, who gets the bucket and the foul, as absorbing that one was Cesar. And with 62 seconds left, Cesar's called for his second. The substitution is going to come on in. It's Dason Sinelli, as he's going to send Iser Barnes to the bench. So Sinelli out there with Pereira. On the front court, the back court, Cesar as well as Lee and Sanchez. So a very young lineup here for Harris's club, as that one is good. Now 8 for 8 are the Eagles from the charity stripe. They're back up 41-40. Lee with possession. Beacons can go 2 for 1 here. With 40 seconds to go, 15 on the shot clock. Lee dribbles back out to Sinelli. Connects here with Sanchez. Sanchez from the top of the three-point line hits Lee. Lee almost goes down. Instead, he connects with Sanchez. Deflected by Farmer. Has to throw it up off the rim and out. And rebound taken by Harrison. Great play to hit Cruz. And setting things up was Oregon. Back to Alex Cruz. He'll move forward. 24 seconds to go. There's about a second and a half separating the shot and the game clock. Oregon instructed by Coach Morris to slow things down and try to just get the last shot with 10 seconds to go, 8 on the shot clock. Farmer driving with his left hand. Good move and rejected there by number 10, Gabriel Pereira. And then the second chance opportunity is no good. So Gabriel Pereira with a beautiful block, the junior from Brockton, Massachusetts. And the UMass Boston Beacons will go to halftime down by 1, 41-40. We're going to talk to Coach Jason Harris in just a moment when we come back. It's 41-40 Eagles on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. right on the baseline here. What a half. Bit sloppy, but
Yeah.
especially considering they've been on the three. Welcome back to the halftime show here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. I am John Scudris, honored here to be with Coach Jason Harris. And Coach, 41-40 at the half, tight game so far. What's your overall impression of the first 20 minutes?
Game's been physical. Credit to Daniel Webster. I mean, they've really done a good job of mucking it up and really trying to get every offensive rebound and every 50-50 ball. We're playing with fouls, so we're a little small again, and so we're just trying to scrap it out and find a way to win.
Already a couple of fouls each for your veteran leaders, Sam Freeman and Iser Barnes. You didn't see Sam Freeman in much for that second half. Was it because of the fouls?
In the first half, you mean?
The second half of the first half.
Yeah, because of the fouls, and Sam's so important to us, we can't allow him to get 3 fouls early. So he's got to be smarter, and he can't pick up that one dumb foul early because then, when he gets another foul, that ends up being 2. So he's got to be smarter.
Absolutely. Last one for you, Coach. What are you going to tell the team in the locker room here to get them ignited here for the second half?
That we're playing selfish. I don't know if we're playing hard enough, and we're playing for a trophy. So we got 20 minutes. We're playing for a trophy at home in front of our family and friends on Thanksgiving. Why not?
Absolutely. Coach, good luck in the second half. Thank you. That's Coach Jason Harris here on the halftime show. Beacons have lost 3 consecutive Harbor Invitational Championships. They'll avoid, or at least look to avoid, their 4th and win their 9th in the history of this Invitational. We'll be back here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. I am John Scudris. About 3 minutes to go until the beginning of the second half. And for UMass Boston, welcome back to the Beacons Broadcasting Network. They're trailing 41-40. You heard about 10 minutes ago from Coach Jason Harris prior to his discussion with the players in the locker room, and he said he was going to tell them they're playing selfish and uncoordinated basketball. So really, no filter on Jason when it comes to the halftime and post-game interviews. That's why we love him here in UMass Boston. In his second year, he's brought this team back to relevancy, and he's got them off to a 3-0 start here in 2016-17 as we get set for the second half of play here in the 32nd Annual Harbor Invitational Tournament. A reminder that earlier today in the consolation game, the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy defeated Vermont Tech as the U.S. MMA team got 2 free throws with 0.3 seconds left from Hunter Jones to win that one 53-52. The senior from Goodyear, Arizona, got a good start to his year as he gets the Merchant Marine Academy their first win of 2016-17. Just a couple of minutes left until the beginning of the second half. Let's take a look at halftime stats here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Beacons obviously, as Coach Harris said, have got to play harder and smarter, but one thing they're not going to have a lot of success at is rebounding. As you see there, outdueled 24-11 on the glass, and that's no surprise. The Beacons' tallest player is 6'4", and Sam Freeman, as Coach Harris mentioned, has been out for a while because of foul trouble. Meanwhile, you see the turnovers. That's the only thing really keeping the Beacons in it. 12-4 in favor of UMass Boston, or rather in favor of Daniel Webster if you want to look at it that way. But the Beacons being tripled up in turnovers, that is a key reason why it's just a one-point game. Let's look at the individual numbers for these squads. Iser Barnes has been outstanding, 18 of the Beacons' 40 points. He had 2 fouls, got taken out for the final few minutes. Expect to see much more of him in the second half. Barnes and Freeman lead the way with 3 rebounds, despite the fact Sam hadn't played in the last 10 minutes of that half. And, of course, Ty Lee leading the way at both assists and steals. He has been outstanding for UMass Boston. Going the other way for Daniel Webster, the Eagles led by Caudle and Edon in points. Harrison in rebounds with 8. Farmer and Oregon in assists with 2. And Oregon has a 1 steal and 1 block leading the way for Daniel Webster. Just 1 block for them despite their size advantage. We look around Beaconville here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. The Beacons women's hockey team got out to a 4-1 lead and cruised to a 7-2 win over Colby College. Meanwhile, the men's hockey team up 2-0 in the second period over SUNY Morrisville. They beat Utica yesterday, top 5 ranked Utica. So after a bit of a swoon the last couple of weeks, the Beacons back to their winning ways. And women's basketball is at Colby College on Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. We now take a look at the Little East Conference scoreboard. No scores for you yet, but we have a couple of games today. Williams taking on Eastern Connecticut State and Western Connecticut State hosting Pine Manor. No update on those scores just yet. We are all set for the second half. Let's look ahead real quick at what the Beacons have coming up here. The men's basketball squad will be at MIT on Tuesday. They then continue their road trip at Western Connecticut, at Tufts, and at Eastern Michigan. We are all set here for the start of the second half. Powers inbounds things to Ty Lee. Lee, of course, outstanding as a freshman. He's got possession from Barnes, and now Lee defers back to the most diminutive player on this squad, but he plays much taller than his size, the 5'5" Sanchez, who drives in, dishes back out to Lee. Far side for Powers, tees up a 3, and Dan connects. The first successful 3 of the day for sharpshooter Dan Powers, and the Westwood native is on the board as the Beacons have taken the first lead of the second half. It's 43-41. Here's Adon as he drives with the right hand, instead pull-up jumper off back rim. Rebound deflected out of bounds off of number 32. That is Jaquan Harrison. And the Beacons will get possession here, up by 2. Just 40 seconds into the second half. Ty Lee, Dean up here by Harrington. Zone defense now for the visitors from Daniel Webster. Crow hop for Powers and a foul on the floor. That one going to be on Harrington. It's for a block, and the Beacons will inbound this from underneath. It'll be Lee. The foul on Harrington is his first. Sanchez to the top for Powers. Barnes thought about taking the three-pointer. Instead, he hands it off to Lee, who turns it over, and then that one deflected by Barnes out of bounds. The turnover forced there by Farmer. And Ray now will inbound things, looking for Harrington, gets him. Harrington runs the show offensively here. standing at 6'5" for an institution in Daniel Webster from Nashua, New Hampshire, with an enrollment of just 650. As Jaquan Harrison hits the jumper from the free throw line, it is now a tie game, 43-all. My high school in Pennsylvania had 700 in the graduating class. Just 650 at Daniel Webster College, and here they are fielding a very competitive basketball squad as this pull-up crow hop jumper is off the back rim and in on a good effort there by Ty Lee, who was a Conference High School Player of the Year with the New Mission Titans. Beacons up by 2, 45-43. They play man-to-man for Coach Harris here in the second half. Farmer D'd up by Powers. Dishes it out. Jumper for 3 off the rim and out. But right there to get the rebound and quick putback is Adon. And Angelo is back on the board as he continues to heat up this afternoon. It's now tied up again, 45-all. Sam Freeman back in the game here in the second half. Triple team, still gets it away and one. Sam Freeman. Welcome back onto the court. Coach Harris said he was taken out because of those 2 fouls in the first 10 minutes. And they're happy to have their 6'4" center back out there as Sam connects. And he also draws the second foul on Ray Farmer. No substitutions. Freeman looking for the 3-point play to give the Beacons a 3-point lead. And it rims out, but the rebound to the far side for Iser Barnes. So the Beacons a chance to turn this into perhaps a 4 or 5-point trip as Lee comes back to Powers and sets up the offense. Lee from the near side looking for Freeman. They want that size. He pulls up from the baseline, connects Sam Freeman, dropping it like it's hot here in the second half. He's got 4 points in 2.5 minutes. Handoff driving in Harrington, and they're going to call a blocking foul on Freeman. Looked pretty good to me nonetheless. The big man for UMass Boston is going to get called. I believe that's on Freeman, right? Yep. Yeah, that's a big one too, as it's his third foul just 2 minutes and 42 seconds into the second half, and that's going to do it for Sam. So just like that, he comes in, gets 4 points, and I think they're going to sub him out here for Kirksey. And they will. So Sam Freeman, so critical, the team's leading point getter. He had 29 points in the debut victory last week. And now he's on the bench yet again. Second free throw, rims in. So 1 for 2 from the line is Harrington. After they missed their first free throw of the day, did the Eagles. Now Iser Barnes coming all the way in. Great runner with the right hand as Barnes beat the defense down. You heard Coach Harris say they were playing selfishly. He won't mind that one as Barnes took it all the way up and drove in for 2. Beacons up by 5 now as they have come out streaking here in the second half as Barnes picks the pocket of Farmer and comes all the way in to lay it in. Iser Barnes, somebody get me his autograph as he has taken over this basketball game with Sam Freeman on the bench, and we will get a whistle. Players thought it was a timeout, and there was no timeout called, so just substitutions here. And the inbound coming in from the Eagles. So the Beacons back up by 7. They're outscoring Daniel Webster 13-5 in the last 4 minutes of this half. And the pressure continues, full court pressure for the Beacons backcourt. Harrington to heat up by Sanchez as here is a pull-up jumper off front rim and out. Rebound taken and then getting fouled by Ty Lee was Michael Campbell. And so this one should come underneath. The initial shot came from Caudill. Campbell with the rebound. Michael had 2 defensive rebounds in the first half. Gets his first offensive for 3 total. So from underneath, here's Harrington. Comes near side, taken there by Harrison. Jaquan back to the top for Adon. Angelo drives, gets it picked away. That was a great play on the swap there from Sanchez, who finds Iser Barnes, who does it again. Going on the reverse layup to the left side, and we will get our first time out of the second half. Beacons outscoring the Eagles 15-5 since the beginning of this half, and with 16:25 to go, they lead it by 9 on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Welcome back to the Beacons Broadcasting Network. I am John Scooter as Beacons coming streaking right out of the locker room. Coach Harris really didn't shame away from showing his ire at the way the team played in the first half. When we spoke to him at halftime, he said they played selfish. They need to play more aggressively. And I guess what he said to them at halftime worked because they have come out and stormed the Eagles. They've grounded the high-flying Daniel Webster offense to the tune of a 15-5 advantage in the last 3 minutes, 35 seconds since this half began. Now a long stretch feed for Cruz. He does get it as the Eagles continue to try to beat this Beacons press. As Harrington comes near side for Adon. Angelo to Campbell. Far side for Cruz. Connects here with Harrington, and Harrington drives in, and tough running left-handed layups off the mark, and we're going to say this is out of bounds on UMass Boston. And so the Eagles will keep possession, down by 9. With possession here is Daniel Webster. It's Michael Campbell. Campbell down low for Cruz. Tries to lower the body in, and he actually does draw the foul. So that's a good play by Cruz. And we'll see. They're going to say this is on the floor, I think. And so UMass Boston will see the third foul of the day called on Iser Barnes. So that is big as well because the Beacons, really their two biggest veterans, as I mentioned with Coach Harris, are Freeman and Barnes. Freeman already out of the game again with his third, and now that's the third on Barnes. That one deflected out of bounds, and this one will stay with the Eagles. We did have a substitution as Neil Cesar entered for Kirksey. Cesar in that first half, 4 for 4 from the charity stripe for all 4 of his points. Beacons still up 9. Less than 16 minutes to go here in regulation time of the 32nd annual Harbor Invitational Tournament. Beacons trying to win their 9th championship in the 32 years of this tournament's history. Meanwhile, good look down low by Cruz as he found a beautifully wide open Antoine Boyd, and the Stamford, Connecticut native connects. It's a 7-point game. Beacons with possession. Almost turning that one over was Sanchez. He gets it back here from Barnes. Pull up and a good there from Alex Sanchez as the Salem native bewitching the Eagles. Here in the second half, they're back up 9. Are the Beacons 57-48. Faking the three-pointer there was Boyd. D'd up by Powers. Adon around the horn from Campbell to Cruz. Adon back here to the near side, top of the three-point line for Boyd. Boyd trying to drive. Might have traveled, no call. Instead, he dishes it out for Adon from long range. And from the parking lot, Angelo Adon has somehow made it. And this is cut at the deficit down to 6. All of a sudden, from an 11-point lead moments ago, it's 57-51. Good look down low by Barnes. Powers has no lane. Tried to draw the foul. Instead gets his own rebound on the partial block. Sanchez for Barnes for 3. Off the mark. And a rebound taken by the Eagles. Here's Boyd moving forward 2-on-2. And Antoine with a nice spin around the move. Another great hesitation, but a little too pretty there as Boyd called for the travel. The fans here didn't like it. At least the fans in attendance for Daniel Webster. Neither did Coach Morris, but it is another turnover here for the Eagles. As the Beacons move forward here, Alex Sanchez. Sanchez crossover, dishes it out to Barnes, D'd up by Cruz. Iser's got the speed advantage, even if he gives up a lot of size. Powers, back to Lee. Lee finds Cesar. Back to Lee at the top of the three-point line. He had picked up his dribble, finds Powers for 3, off the back rim and out. Good rebound there by Cesar as he got lucky. Finds Lee for 3, off front rim and out. Another rebound, a third chance here for UMass Boston, and Iser Barnes can't hit a fourth chance as Barnes gets his own rebound and puts it in. UMass Boston, 4 chances for the price of 1 on that offensive opportunity, and they have extended their lead to 8, 59-51. Iser Barnes has been outstanding. He's over 20 points already. And we will get a foul on the court on UMass Boston. A blocking foul on the Beacons. This one will come out of bounds on the near side. That one's called on Sanchez, just his first for Alex, despite playing almost this entire game. Boyd will inbound it for the Eagles, down by 8 now, 59-51. And Sanchez is so good defensively and so aggressive. It's amazing he only has one foul as Kirksey will check in for Iser Barnes. Iser has 3 fouls. He's also been outstanding today, but up by 8, they can give him a quick breather. As Kirksey will step on in, he's got Cesar, Sanchez, Lee, Powers, and Kirksey for UMass Boston. Here's Boyd as Antoine dribbles in and is fouled. And that will be 2 shots for Antoine Boyd. The foul is called on UMass Boston's Dan Powers. It is his 3rd. Beacon's getting into foul trouble, as Coach Harris mentioned. Powers getting his 3rd, and I think that'll do it for him for the moment, as Desan Sinelli, I should say, is checked in. First free throw from Boyd is up and good. For Antoine, he's now got 3 points on the day, his first trip to the charity stripe. So Sinelli does check in for Powers. And Boyd connects on both. It's 59-53, 13:27 to go. Still a close game, even if the Beacons have come out and outscored their opponents 19-12 here in the second half. It was 15-5 at one point. Sanchez, near side Sinelli. Desan, more of a defensive player. At this point, just a freshman, and then there's a turnover and a foul called on Kirksey, as Cruz was all alone the other way. Good foul by Kirksey, and just like that, Coach Harris has had enough. With 13:08 to go, he's going to bring back in his veterans and those upperclassmen as Barnes and Freeman, both with 3 fouls, are in. Kirksey and Sinelli take a seat for Desan. That was a quick trip to the court. But for UMass Boston, up by 6, a big possession here. Campbell out there, tries to go down low for Caudill. Caudill looking underneath, good look, and that one off the rim and out there on a chance by Small Piece and out of bounds on the Eagles. Small Piece thought it was deflected off UMass Boston, but the Beacons get the ball back, 59-53. Here's Sanchez. Sanchez got a screen, took it the other way, all the way in over the trees and in. The 5'5" Alex Sanchez taking it to the hole on the 6'7" Marquise Caudill, and he doesn't care what the numbers say. He's got ups, and he can take it to the hole with the best of them. Beacons back up 8, 61-53, almost slipping and committing a travel where was Oregon, and then from long range off the mark by Boyd. His bench struggling here in this one, and then a double dribble called on Barnes. So a rare error offensively from Iser Barnes. And we will see Ray Farmer check back in for Donald Morris Jr.'s Eagles. He will replace Michael Campbell. And so the Nashua native Farmer seems to be limping a little bit. He does have that padding on that right knee. Doesn't move around quite as well as the other big men for these Eagles. Meanwhile, Oregon got the ball partially deflected from Sanchez, and he'll just send this one back to Boyd. Boyd's been very active in the second half. Does it again. Nice drive to the right side and layup with the right hand for Antoine Boyd. And the 6'5" junior continuing to look a lot more active in the second half. There's a turnover from Barnes coming all the way. Small Piece. He'll slam it home. 4 unanswered here out of the timeout for the visitors for Nashua, as the Eagles back on top by 4. And we'll see if Harris calls a timeout. He doesn't. Here's Sanchez. Sanchez coming to the far side, fakes the handoff, and then almost a turnover. Barnes got over as Cesar didn't see the pass from Sanchez. Sloppy play over the last minute or two here. Ever since the double dribble call on Barnes, he's committed 2 turnovers, and then Sanchez almost committed one there. Meanwhile, coming all the way in, Cesar, off balance, wanted a foul, didn't get it. And all of a sudden, a 4-point game, and the ball to the Eagles of Daniel Webster. Here's a chance, Small Piece for 3, rims out. Deflected and kept in there by Caudill. Back to Small Piece. Fakes the shot, traveling violation. And so just like that, the sloppy play continues, and just like that, we will have a media timeout. It's 61-57. Beacons on top, but the Eagles are swooping closer. We'll be back here from Clark Athletic Center in the 32nd Annual Harbor Invitational. Welcome back to the Beacons Broadcasting Network. I'm John Scudras. Beacons currently leading this 32nd Annual Harbor Invitational Championship by 4, 61-57. Their key upperclassmen, Freeman and Barnes, both have 3 fouls. Dan Powers, who's inbounding it, number 23 in white, also has 3 fouls. So the Beacons with 3 key upperclassmen, all in foul trouble with still just over 11 minutes to go. Small piece will D up Lee as Ty, a former New Mission Titan, comes near side here for Powers. Powers drives in, got partially blocked, and that contributed to this one rimming out. Meanwhile, streaking forward is Caudill. Marquise almost lost possession at center court. Instead, he takes it all the way himself and travels. That was sloppy as sloppy can be from Marquise Caudill. We talked to Coach Harris at halftime about the Beacons. He said they were selfish. I'm not going to call that a selfish play. The team's down 4. You still got plenty of time, but Caudill needs to look for his teammates on that one. He turns it over all by his lonesome once and almost twice. So here's Lee bringing it up. Beacons going up against that zone defense of Coach Donald Harris Jr. Powers hits Sanchez. The 5'5" guard defers back out. Here's a swing pass over to Cesar, driving in, partially blocked. Gets his own rebound. What a play by Cesar. Sanchez pull-up mid-range jumper is good. So Alex Sanchez puts the Beacons back up 6. It's 63-57. Farmer down low for Caudill. Quick pull-up from the baseline is good. He's been electric from that baseline. 3 for 3 today from that area. And it is now a 4-point game yet again. 63-59. Powers. Far side here for Lee. Right back to Powers. Beacons trying to set it up as Freeman is back out there. Powers driving with the left hand. Beautiful runner there from Sam Powers. As Dan delivers with the left hand, is offhand, off blackboard and in. It's now a 6-point game yet again. Here is Oregon. Oregon connecting on the far side. Caudill looking for a similar shot, this time fade away, and he got it. He is dynamite from the baseline, is Caudill, as Marquise now into double digits in points. 4-point game yet again, separating these two teams from the 32nd championship of this invitational tournament. And that one out of bounds off of the Beacons. Powers thought he was fouled, so did Coach Harris. They're not going to get the call, and a substitution or 2 substitutions as Angelo Adon and number 3, Jared Harrington, check on in. Farmer connects with Harrington, and oh my goodness, he almost got his pocket picked right in his face. Oh man, talk about walking up to you and stealing your wallet. Farmer having issues, that's turned over. Here's Powers, gets it, swatted away, and a foul on either Farmer or Adon. And the Beacons continuing to play at another level here in the second half, as that will be on the floor and an inbounds from underneath. The foul is called on Adon, Angelo's first of the afternoon. What a defensive play by Sanchez, as that one's deflected out of bounds. I didn't really like that pass from Lee, but Iser Barnes will check in as Alex Sanchez. Good chance to get a break there. He has been outstanding both offensively and especially defensively today. You can't really say enough about his performance against the big backcourt of these Eagles. Barnes goes down to Freeman. Oh, great play made by Sam to avoid the steal, and then an even better block from Adon on the attempt from Lee. Coming the other way and overrunning it there was Barnes for the slamma-jamma from Jaquan Harrison. 3rd or 4th dunk of the day for these Eagles. They have the size to do it, and now all of a sudden they're down just 2. 8:35 to go. Lee goes right through the teeth of the D and then off everything. Wanted a foul, no call, and we are about to be tied as Harrison, he misses the dunk. Great defense from Barnes as he got back to deflect that one. The second chance three-pointer from Caudill's off the mark, and it is out of bounds off the Eagles. So the Beacons saw the lead almost slip away, and I believe if Jaquan Harrison just laid that up, this game is tied. Instead, he tried for the pretty dunk, and he failed miserably. So the Beacons stay up by 2. Iser Barnes running the show offensively. He just got it done defensively. Meanwhile, Freeman, and that's going to be an offensive foul on Sam Freeman, his 4th of the afternoon. Been a tough day for Sam. We'll see what Harris does. He's going to take him out, I think, and Sanchez is going to head right back in. So you take out your tallest player, 6'4" in Sam Freeman, because he's one foul away from fouling out with over 8 minutes to go, and you have to replace him with your smallest player, 5'5" Alex Sanchez. Now, Sanchez has been outstanding today, as the freshman has been poised both offensively and defensively, but when you're talking about a team in Daniel Webster that has not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 players over 6'5", and the Beacons have none, that is a big loss. We'll see how long Freeman stays out for Coach Harris. Down low for Caudill, double teamed, and the Beacons are unable to do anything with 6'7" Marquise Caudill. The Beacons lose this game, which is now tied at 65. I think Coach Harris is going to go to those fouls, and the inability to keep Sam Freeman out there for any extended period of time. Barnes, pump fake, and a foul, as Iser's able to draw up there on Adon. It's his second. And we will get a media timeout. So with 7:36 to go here in the second half of play, UMass Boston and the Eagles of Daniel Webster all tied up at 65 here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. .736 to go, second half of play. Welcome back to the BBN. I am John Skudris. Whole new game. Why even have played the last 33 minutes? It's 65-65. Might as well be 0-0. In this 32nd annual Armor Invitational Championship, Beacons looking to avoid a 4th consecutive loss, becoming the Buffalo Bills of Division III men's basketball. They'd lost in 2013, 14, and 15 in the championship of this 14 tournament. They have won 8 times in the 32 or 31 prior invitationals, as this one's inbounded to Powers by Lee. Cesar hits Barnes baseline, deed up by Adon, comes back out to Sanchez, 24 on the shot clock. Sanchez, dribble drive, crossover, finds Barnes, far side for Lee. Lee back to Powers, he can shoot, pump fake on Adon, hands it off to Cesar, who has just 1 field goal today, back out to Sanchez, near side. And Powers now with 9 seconds. Powers drives, great effort, can't hit off the back of the rim. Powers had to go underneath the defense, and now here's Farmer and a turnover. Oh, and stepping out of bounds was Ty Lee, and that's just a bad break. He slipped on that far side underneath the basket. And with 7:05 to go, ball back to the Eagles. So almost a chance for the Beacons. Back-to-back turnovers, one on the Eagles, one on the Beacons. Down low looking for Caudill, and Iser Barnes got his hand in there to force a turnover. Iser Barnes, what a performance. We'll have an interview with both Coach Harris, and if the Eagles win, or the Beacons win rather, the MVP of this tournament, something tells me it just might be Iser Barnes. It's 65-65, we're now under 7 minutes to go. Regulation time. Beacons Eagles. Winner of this captures the Arbor Invitational here in 2016, and a turnover for the freshman Sanchez. Coming the other way. Here's Harrington pulling up, and he hits it. Rather, that's Jaquan Harrison with the right hand, and for the first time since the half began, about 30 seconds into the half, when they had a 41-40 lead, Daniel Webster's back on top. It's 67-65. Barnes, crossover move, undersized off the front rim and out. So he could not get enough on that one. Caudill goes through the D, gets fouled there by Sanchez. That's his second. And this one will be a throw-in from the baseline. So for the first, probably about 7-8 minutes of this half, the Beacons dominated thoroughly. They had a 15-5 advantage in second half scoring. But then everything went topsy-turvy. All of a sudden, it's 67-65, and it is 26-25. Now 27-25 Eagles here in the second half. Farmer, as well as Harrison down low. Sam Freeman back in. He's got 4 fouls, so one more for Sam. He's gone, but at 6:19, he'll check in for Cesar. There's really nothing left to lose here as they are getting killed down low are the Beacons. As a second free throw from Marquise Caudill rims out. So a break for the Beacons, still down 3. Bringing it up here is Lee. Lee pulls it up, and that was sloppy. Rebound to Powers. One dribble back up, can't hit off the side of the rim. Third chance for Lee, gets it swatted away. Down low, Freeman has it. That'll be a jump ball, and the Eagles will get possession. We'll have a couple of substitutions for Coach Morris, as taking a seat will be Caudill and Farmer. So it'll be Adon, Campbell, Cruz, as well as Harrington and Harrison. The Beacons, Freeman, Powers, Lee, Barnes, and Sanchez. Familiar 5. That's the starting 5 for Coach Harris. Beacons down 3. They're in the penalty now. It's coming all the way in, and getting that one up and in there was Cruz. And you saw Sam Freeman with 4 fouls. Didn't even lift his arms up. I don't think Coach is going to like that too much, but he doesn't want to get that 5th foul. We got to have him contribute offensively. Freeman pulls it up and gets fouled. So now pendulum swings the other way. Sam with 4 fouls now gets a chance to head to the charity stripe for the first time since early on in this second half. Beacons were up by as many as 7 here in the second half. They are now down. As many as 9 here in the second half. They are now down by 5, 70-65. 5:44 to go. Sam Freeman from the charity stripe and connects on the first. Beacons down by 4. Freeman has 4. Barnes has 3. Powers has 3. All 3 are out on the court with less than 6 minutes to go. Freeman connects on both. So Sam is 4 for 4 from the line. Also has 4 fouls. Beacons down just 3, and the full court press commences. With possession, moving forward is Harrington. D'd up by Barnes. Harrington splits him and gets all the way up court. Now pulls back to set up the offense. Almost traveled there. Instead he finds Cruz on the far side. D'd up by Powers. Powers connects with Harrison. Harrison picks up his dribble, hits Harrington. Harrington to the corner of the key, connects on the pull-up mid-range jumper. And it is back to 5, 72-67. Lee to Powers, looking for 3. Off back rim and out. Rebound taken by Cruz. And UMass Boston has been unable to find their stroke from beyond the arc here in the second half. They were 2 for 3 in the first half, but have not been able to get it done in the last 10 minutes or so. Blocked there from Powers, but at the right place at the right time was Campbell as he got that one on the second chance. He's fouled, I believe, on the court. And Campbell and the Eagles, well, actually it looks like Eagles are in the penalty anyway. So the Eagles will shoot 1-1. And that's a big, big break here, as that's the 4th foul on Powers, and he takes a seat with less than 5 minutes to go for Kirksey. So Barnes, Freeman, Kirksey, Sanchez, and Lee. Campbell out there with Cruz, Harrison, Harrington, and Adon for the Eagles. As he hits the front end of the 1-1 does Michael Campbell, and the Archbishop Stepanak alum has put the Eagles back up 6. Beacons were down 41-40 at the half. It was a back and forth and sloppy first half for both teams. 12 first half turnovers for Daniel Webster kept the Eagles in it, or rather the Beacons in it, but since then, after the Beacons took a 9-point lead in the second half, they have been absolutely dominated and outscored by 16 in the last 10 minutes. As a foul here on Campbell. Not yet in the penalty are the Eagles, although the next one will put the Beacons in a 1-1 situation. The next foul for UMass Boston will put the Eagles in a two-shot situation. That's a terrible inbounds pass there by Lee, and a break for the Eagles as turning that one over on the far side is Harrison. Just a really unorthodox play. He grabbed the ball, dribbled it right on the sideline, and the ref was right there to see it. The Beacons bench as well. We'll get a timeout on the court. Timeout UMass Boston. They trail 74-67. Less than 5 minutes to go in the 32nd annual Harbor Invitational right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Out of the timeout here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network, I'm John Scudras. 74-67. Beacons trailing with less than 5 minutes to go. They're going to need a comeback here. Sanchez, far side there for Lee, and then almost turning it over there was Kirksey as he tried a spin move. Sanchez was game to pick it up. Beacons just distributing it around the world on the top of the three-point line, the backcourt. They're unable to get it to Freeman, who's being double-teamed. They're playing the zone defense, and it's smart, and a turnover there on UMass Boston as Kirksey hands it right back over to the visitors from Daniel Webster. Beacons forced 12 first-half turnovers, committed just 4. Since then, though, in the second half, the turnovers have been aplenty for UMass Boston. So Beacons down by 7, applying the full court press. It's unsuccessful as now here's Tommy Organ trying to run the show. Beacons will get Neil Cesar back out there in a few moments at the next whistle. And we are at the 4-minute mark of the second half. Chance here for Small Piece driving in, and he's fouled by Freeman, and that'll do it for Sam's afternoon. Sam thought he got a clean block. They're going to call him for his 5th foul, and Sam Freeman's day is officially done. It's been an afternoon of disappointment for number 30 in white. 29 points in the season debut, 19 in game 2. He had a tough go in the opener of this tournament, and it got a lot tougher here today as Cesar will check in. We'll see. Looks like Powers was going to come in. We're going to get a timeout anyway. I think it'll be Powers and Cesar coming in when we do reconvene. So Sam Freeman's day is done. He has fouled out with 5 fouls. A disappointing one for he. And in about 4 minutes, it might be a very disappointing one for Coach Harris and the Beacons. It's 74-67. Eagles on top right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. So down by 7 out of the timeout, 4 minutes to go. Beacons have a little bit of time left here, but they're going to have to make it up pretty quickly as heading to the charity stripe for 2 will be Tavon Smallpiece. Smallpiece first is up and good. 8-point game, Smallpiece connects. And rims out on the second. Good rebound there for Barnes as he goes down and immediately twists his ankle. And oh my goodness, Iser Barnes is hurt. Insult to injury, literally, for UMass Boston, down by 8, and now their best offensive performer has gone down. We'll see how serious this is. He's tying his shoe, so hopefully not that serious. Yeah, he's all right back up. So UMass Boston, down by 8. Iser Barnes seems okay. Beacons have Powers, Barnes, Sanchez, Lee, Kirksey, and Cesar out there. Freeman has fouled out. They're down 8 with 3:55 to go. They're in the penalty. Meanwhile, if the Beacons get fouled, they'll go to the charity stripe for 1-1. So Powers will inbound this one for Lee. And here he comes. Barnes had to take a seat because of that quick injury, so looks like he'll be coming back in at the next whistle. Kirksey hands off to Lee. Lee double teamed in that zone defense that has been so successful here in the second half. And a rebound off the miss there by Sanchez sends Farmer the other way, and he's fouled and one. Ray Farmer connects. He's fouled there by Sanchez, or rather by Lee. And with 3:36 to go, the tidal wave continues as the Eagles are swarming over the Beacons this afternoon. It's the second foul on Lee, and it's a 10-point game all of a sudden. Chance for the biggest lead of the day here to be extended for Farmer. And Ray's first trip to the charity stripe is off the mark on the 1-1. So 77-67. UMass Boston down by 10. Powers drives, almost turns it over, but he got a foul call, I think, on Small Piece. I'm actually going to say that's on Farmer. So Farmer called for the foul with 3:27 to go. It's his third. Angelo Edon will take a seat here for Boyd. Antoine Boyd checks in for the Eagles, who are 3 minutes and 27 seconds away from clinching their first ever Harbor Invitational title. First free throw is good for Powers. Cuts the deficit to 9. Now, of course, in basketball, 3:27 is a long time. We've seen it happen. You get hot, anything can happen, but Powers misses the second, and it remains a 9-point game. Ooh, almost a travel there from Small Piece. As aggressive D from both Powers and Kirksey. He almost forced it, but here moving forward is Oregon. Tommy behind the back, looking to evade Sanchez. Comes back to Caudill. Round the horn from Farmer for a Boyd pull-up three-pointer off the mark, off front rim. Powers being harassed in the backcourt, takes it himself. Beacons trying to outgun the defense down court, and Powers is fouled. And a break for the Beacons as he lost possession of the ball mid-layup, but luckily the foul was called. He'll go to the charity stripe for the second time in the last 30 seconds for 2 shots. The foul on Farmer, and just like that, he went from 2 to 4 in the last 30 seconds. 3 minutes on the nose. Beacons down by 9. The comeback begins with this trip to the charity stripe for Powers. He went 1 for 2 in his last opportunity. Connects on the first. Substitution here for the Eagles, as it'll be Jaquan Harrison checking in. They're not sure who he's checking in for. It will be Devon Smallpiece, the sophomore from Dorchester, taking a seat. 8-point lead for the Eagles of Daniel Webster. An enrollment of just 650 compared to 17,000 for UMass Boston. And yet they have one very talented and very tall basketball club. So after making both, does Powers. It's a 7-point game with 3 minutes exactly to go. Beacons will apply the full court press. Here is Oregon. Thought about the long Montana to the right stretch pass. Instead, he dribbles through most of the defense, connects with Boyd. Boyd looking near side, almost slipped through Caudill's hands. Caudill almost traveled, connects with Boyd, and Boyd decides to just dish it out, trying to run down some clock. I think that was not smart. Well, unless the Eagles just drive right through the Beacons defense, like knife through hot butter. Really, nobody stepped up there. Not sure what the deal was. Jason Harris is not going to like that. Barnes looking for Kirksey. And the sloppiness continues here in the second half as the Beacons, with just 150 seconds left, see Sanchez miss that jumper. And up by 9, here comes Boyd, and the Eagles has a nice behind-the-back pass there from Boyd. He got a little nifty on that one, and it's going to lead to a turnover. Not sure that Coach Morris will like that too much. They had a chance to kill 30 seconds. And you see his teammate, Jaquan Harrison, go up to him, pat him on the back, maybe say, yeah, maybe don't do that again. Slow things down next time because we're up by 9 points. And there's no need for that. They can just slow things down, pull it out, run the offense, and kill this to under 2 minutes. Now the Beacons, down by 9, do have 140 seconds, but they have got to move quickly, and they've got to find their shooting stroke. Sanchez trying to use his speed, hits Barnes. He can shoot. Iser instead drives all the way in and connects. So Iser Barnes hits it in a timeout here for UMass Boston. It's 79-77, 2:11 to go in regulation time. Excuse me, 79-72, wishful thinking. Beacons trailed 41-40 at halftime. They came out screaming out of the locker room, 15-5 run. Took a 9-point lead. That evaporated into a 9-point deficit before our very eyes. The longest lead of the second half and of this game has been 10 for the Eagles. Right now it is 79-72. Beacons down by 7 with 2:11 to go. Possession arrow favors UMass Boston. If there is a jump ball, Beacons will get it. So inbounding here out of the timeout, it'll be Boyd. Beacons applying that full court pressure. And he hits the back of the backboard and almost a huge break. But luck is on the side of the Eagles as Farmer almost picked up his pivot foot. No call. And a foul called on Powers, and that's it for Dan. His 5th foul of the day. He is done just like Sam Freeman. Doesn't like the call, but not going to matter as he will head to the bench for good for the final 123 seconds. Replacing him out there is going to be the freshman, Dason Sinelli, out of Boston, Massachusetts. And the free throws will come from Jared Harrington, sophomore from Maryland. That rims out for Harrington on the front end of the 2 free throws. Beacons still down 7. Just over 2 minutes to go. Foul trouble has taken out 2 of their best big men, Powers and Freeman, here in the second half, as hitting the second was Harrington. It's an 8-point game, 80-72. Driving with the left hand is Lee, and that's off backboard and in. So the Beacons cut it back to a 6-point game, 80-74, and then right through the defense and off backboard and in on the layup is Harrington. That'll happen on the full court press when you have nobody back, but really, honestly, Beacons have been very slow compared to what I'd expect. You thought it would be a speed versus size game. It's been a speed and size for the Eagles. And really not much for the Beacons, as that is an offensive foul on the freshman Samini. And the turnover yet again for UMass Boston will just about stick a dagger in their hopes of winning their 9th Harbor Invitational. Full court press continues. Farmer to the center court here for Harrington. Almost loses control. Instead he drives right by the defense. Connects with Harrison, who an easy layup. And boy, oh boy, things have deteriorated very quickly here in the fast 5 minutes as Sanchez comes all the way in, misses on the layup, and with 66 seconds left, it's all over but the final whistle, as this one is a beautiful feed from Boyd, missed there by Harrison, and now Harrison slow getting back. Beacons should have numbers as Cesar for 3, off front rim and out. Rebound there, and connecting with Harrison was Harrington, and he'll connect with Farmer with 45 seconds left. Ray Farmer slams it home and twists the dagger in the hearts of the UMass Boston faithful. It's 86-74. We have a timeout on the court as the Beacons, like the Buffalo Bills in the early 90s, will lose their 4th consecutive Harbor Invitational Championship as Jason Harris discusses things with the referees. And they're going to try to wrap this thing up lock, stock, and barrel. Get back out there. Timeout over. Let's go. 46 seconds left. Beacons down 86-74. So Sanchez brings it in, trying to conserve some clock. They're going to have to hoist up threes or at least get a quick 2-point opportunity. Barnes is out there. Pump fake. Drives. Mid-range with the right hand. He's fouled and cannot get the friendly roll. So Barnes will head to the charity stripe for 2, down by 12 with 37.1 to go. Barnes connects on the first of his trip to the free throw line. It's 86-75. As Iser hits the first of 2, misses and rims out on the second. Oh, and a turnover there by Caudill. He comes back and rejects Lee right in front of the rim. What an opportunity and effort there by Caudill as Sanchez hits the 3 to cut it down to 8, and a timeout called by UMass Boston. So 23 and change to go. It would take a miracle of sorts to come back. Beacons are down 8, 86-78. Led out there today by Iser Barnes. He was outstanding. Sam Freeman got into foul trouble early. Dan Powers as well. And Beacons really, you looked at it coming in, and I'll talk to Coach Harris about this after the game. He's one of the coaches who doesn't mind doing an interview after a loss. We saw at halftime. He's very candid. I'm going to ask him how disappointed he is with his team's performance today, and also the fact that the team was unable to take advantage of their speed. You know, it looks like coming into this, we said Daniel Webster has a size advantage, but the Beacons should have the speed advantage, and they couldn't take advantage of it at all. I'll see what Coach Harris thinks about that. Now, granted, it's not as if these are a bunch of William the Refrigerator Perrys out there for the visiting Eagles and the soon-to-be Harbor Invitational champions, but their game is size, not necessarily speed. The Beacons have to take advantage of speed because their tallest player is 6'4", and he fouled out over 7 minutes ago. So heading to the charity stripe for 2 here is going to be Jaquan Harrison. Jaquan had a huge performance off the bench yesterday to defeat U.S. Merchant Marine Academy as he hits the front end of this trip. The bench is all smiles as they are on their way. Is Daniel Webster to their first Harbor Invitational Championship. The Beacons will lose their 4th consecutive championship game at home here. And a substitution sees Small Piece check back in. They'll replace Harrison. And they passed that one in a little soon. Did Iser Barnes. You can tell they're just frustrated, want to get this thing over with. For Iser, it's his 3rd consecutive loss in this tournament championship. He's got to be disgusted, especially with how he played. Sanchez, pull-up three-pointer off the mark. Sinelli can't get the board. Deflected off of Sinelli, and with 5 seconds to go, that'll do it. UMass Boston, for the 4th consecutive year, has fallen in the championship game of the Harbor Invitational. And for the first time in institutional history, the Daniel Webster Eagles fly high as they are the champions of the 32nd Harbor Invitational Tournament, defeating UMass Boston by a final score of 88-78. We're going to step aside for a moment. When we come back, we'll have an interview with the Beacons head coach, Jason Harris. He's got to be disappointed, even more so than he was at halftime. We'll be back here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. John Scooters here in the broadcasting booth. What you see on your screen is the trophy presentation as the Daniel Webster College Eagles, natives of Nashua, New Hampshire, enrollment of just 650, have captured their first tournament championship. Donald Morris in just his third season, assistant coach Raheem Biuya, and assistant coach A.J. Stevens. As the natives of the NECC, under the leadership of President Dr. Michael Diffley, have triumphed to victory. We'll be right back with Coach Jason Harris in a moment. Welcome back to the post-game show on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Along with Coach Jason Harris, I'm John Scooters. Disappointing 10-88-78 loss in the championship. Coach, 4 consecutive losses in championship games in this tournament now. How disappointed are you after this one?
It's one game, disappointed, that we lost. Obviously, that we all hate to lose. Those guys just kind of took it from us in the last 10 minutes, but there's some positive things. But at the end of the day, we lost. And, championship game or not, a loss is a loss.
At halftime, you mentioned that the team was playing a little selfish and it backfired on them. Do you think they played a little better early in the second half? Looked like the passing was good. You guys got right back in front, but then things kind of teetered off.
Yeah, well, we're a little thin in the forward position, so, when Sam and Dan pick up bad fouls early and, it puts pressure on other guys to do things that they don't do. So I don't think we were selfish. I think we just, those guys got to figure out how to play without fouling.
Absolutely. It's a tough line to cross there. Meanwhile, for Daniel Webster, they had a lot of size, and we knew that was going to be a situation coming in. You guys had a very disadvantage when it comes to size, but you have a lot of speed. Did you see maybe where you could have used that a little bit better to your advantage in this game? Nope,
because the officials called every single hand check on us and let them play. So, not to blame the officiating, but, if they're not going to be consistent, and we're small. So, they changed the way they called it, and, that was bad for us. So, need consistency out of the officials.
Absolutely. Iser Barnes today, fantastic performance, led the team in scoring. What's your impression of him here now with your second year coaching Iser and your excitement about coaching him for another couple?
Yeah, Iser's done a great job this year. We didn't start him, and the kid could have powdered, and he came in immediately and had energy and effort and maturity. So I think I'm excited about Iser's progress.
3-1 on the season, a lot of games coming up here. What's your expectations for this club going forward?
For me, the biggest game we have is MIT because it's Tuesday. So you're not going to get me to talk about anything past Tuesday.
Very Belichickian of you. Next man up, next game up. They're on to MIT on Tuesday at MIT. Well, Coach Harris, I appreciate it. Tough loss. Good luck the rest of the way. That's Coach Jason Harris here on the post-game show. I'm John Scooters. We'll be back in a moment to wrap things up and get you all the updates from women's and men's hockey. Looking for 2 victories elsewhere on the ice here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Thank you. Welcome back to the post-game show here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Beacons losing 88-78, the final score. You just heard from Coach Harris. Disappointment, obviously, in his tone, but also excitement about the future, and he's ready to just move on. Beacons have lost now 4 consecutive Harbor Invitational Tournament games, championship games, I should say, and that's a tough pill to swallow. I mentioned they're like the Buffalo Bills of D3 basketball at this point, but plenty of season left. Coach Harris said the only thing he's focusing on is MIT on Tuesday. Let's take a look at the final stats for this, the 32nd Harbor Invitational Championship, and you look at the difference. Rebounds. Rebounds, turnovers, very different for both clubs, but for Daniel Webster, almost 50 rebounds in this game. It's not a surprise. They have 6 players taller than the Beacons' tallest, Sam Freeman, who fouled out with about 7 minutes to go in the second half. Team's pretty close in assists. Daniel Webster a little bit better in playmaking, but that's no surprise. Turnovers. Beacons forced 24 turnovers, 12 in each half, and yet somehow lose by double digits. You see the field goal percentages much better for Daniel Webster. Beacons 32 of 74. That is absolutely horrendous. And Daniel Webster 33 of 59, a shooting percentage of over 50%. From beyond the arc, the Beacons and the visiting Daniel Webster Eagles both went about 32-33% from the three-point lane. Meanwhile, the individual leaders talked to Coach about Iser Barnes. He said he could have pouted when he was playing off the bench. Instead, he came out and had one of the best games of his career. 29 points, 7 rebounds for Iser Barnes. A one-man wrecking ball out there for the Beacons, as Iser contributed not only with those 29 points and 7 boards, he also had 2 assists, turned the ball over twice, but also had 3 steals. Ty Lee had 8 steals to go along with 5 assists, and Sam Freeman led the team with his 1 block, despite playing in just 18 minutes today. You see Daniel Webster's leaders, Harrison with 15 points, Caudle with 13 boards, Farmer with 4 assists, 6 players tied with 1 steal, and Caudle, who came to play today, led the team in both rebounds and blocks down low. Coach Harris said his focus is solely on MIT, and the reason why, as we look ahead, is because that is the next matchup for his Beacons, as they will head to MIT to take them on Tuesday at 7 p.m. We'll see if the Beacons can overcome the Smarties over there in Cambridge. Meanwhile, on Saturday, December 3rd, Western Connecticut State will play host to UMass Boston, who goes on a long road trip, as the following Tuesday and Thursday they're at the Tufts Jumbos, and then at Eastern Nazarene at 7 p.m. I want to thank the Beacons broadcasting crew, a small crew today, as we have, obviously, Thanksgiving holiday. A lot of these student-athletes who run this production back home, enjoying time with their families. Also, some working the women's hockey game up the road. Heads up on that. Women's hockey won 7-2. Men's hockey was up 2-0 in the second last we checked on that. And for the broadcasting crew, I want to thank our producer, Seth Arensky, our director, Lauren Mitsiaris, and our camera person, Katie Matthew today, as without them, I would have been lost, and the Beacons did eventually succumb, just like I would have been. For everyone else involved, the final score here in the 32nd Harbor Invitational Tournament, 88-78. The Eagles of Daniel Webster flying to their first championship in this tournament's history. Until next time, I'm John Skudras. Good night, good luck, and good basketball. We'll see you right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.